But you had Hamilton's vision, which was, you know, more urban, more industrial, and then Jefferson's vision was more agrarian and rural. And he would say more small d democratic. Hamilton, he would say, was more of an elitist, although Jefferson lived as an elitist and as an aristocrat. So they were arguing over these things. But if you want to know about debates throughout American history that we have had about the role of government, almost all those debates trace back to Hamilton and Jefferson having the clash. And they were both really big intellects, really big thinkers, and ultimately Hamilton, I think, won Washington's affection with his vision more than Jefferson did. But Jefferson ended up getting elected president in 1800, and then he was able to put his vision into reality. But it's interesting because he was viewing, you know, they say it when they teach it in school, they say, well, he was a strict constructionist. Hamilton was a loose constructionist. And maybe that's the right way, but I mean, I think that, you know, a lot of people view it and say, you know, you want to just accurately interpret the Constitution, and so if there's a robust power, then it's robust. If it's not, then it's not. Be that as it may, the caricature of Jefferson has been that he was very stingy. He read every single power very narrowly. You couldn't really move a muscle at the federal level unless it was specifically there in the Constitution. But then he had an opportunity to do something which no president has been able to do since then, and that's double the size of the country with the Louisiana Purchase. And it created a conundrum for him, because if you're going to be very stingy on how you view that, there was no explicit provision saying that you could buy land. Now, there were powers that would imply that, and that's why a lot of people were fine with what he did. But, you know, he had to really wrestle with this. Ultimately, he pulled the trigger. It's got to be one of the best real estate acquisitions in world history that he was able to do, and it really set the stage for the country to expand and ultimately become what it is. He reduced the federal debt when he was in. That's something that I think a lot of people, you know, appreciate this day and age. I don't think the founders would ever have imagined that we would have ended up having a debt to GDP ratio that's like 130% of our economy. So he really was fiscally responsible, and he did believe in limited government. He didn't want government micromanaging. He really wanted the states to be the leader and be in control of this. Now, some people looked at his presidency. You know, there were definitely some missteps, the embargo of 1807, all this stuff. And I think it was Benjamin Rush that said, you know, he loved Jefferson, but Jefferson may have had a little bit more genius than judgment on some of these core issues. So that's something that people have criticized him for. And he's also, of course, been criticized for having written the Declaration of Independence, saying that all men are created equal, and yet continue all the way until the end to own a lot of slaves. And people say, you know, you were in Virginia, you know, it was a plantation type society before the Declaration, but you know, even other people that were in that, like George Washington, eventually freed all his slaves. Jefferson never did that. It was always a big struggle with him, and he would kind of agonize in these letters, but a lot of people have said, okay, he asserted everyone's equal. He said that we're small d democratic, but he really did live as an aristocrat and didn't totally fulfill in his personal life the principles that he put down. And so he's criticized for that. And I think it's totally fair. And I think it's fair to criticize any of the founders for the decisions and actions they make. But I do think it's wrong to demonize them and act like somehow 250 years later, like, oh, you know, did this. So take them for all the pluses and minuses. And even when he retired, you know, he founded one of the great universities in this country, University of Virginia. He designed the University of Virginia. He was an architect and was able to do that. Honestly, this building is similar to kind of Jefferson's style of architecture. So he was a very multifaceted guy, not just a statesman. He was a scholar. He was a writer. He was an inventor. He did a lot of things that, you know, you really probably wouldn't see too many people who were able to do that in this day and age. And so I think it's appropriate that the state of Florida is recognizing, you know, all the people that help bring into fruition our country. But I think here in Jefferson County, I think it's appropriate to be able to have a statute that's been provided by the state of Florida so people can see the namesake and really study, and particularly for young people, think about, you know, some of the major issues that they were dealing with at the time, how he navigated independence, how he navigated some of these things. Really, really significant history. So I want to thank Cord Bird for helping make this happen. You know, we met at the end of last year, and I was like, we really want to do well here. We want to get this done. And I think we're really ahead of the curve with where other states are going. We've done the Washington. We have the Jefferson will unveil here. I know we're working on Hamilton, Madison. I think Franklin's in the works. We have that coming, which will be really, really good. And on it goes. And, you know, we're not just going to only do counties that have namesakes. We think that America's 250 is important to celebrate in a wide variety of ways across all of Florida, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So, Cord, you want to come up here and